Hi. Hi, my name is Neil Sandage. I am now attempting my second call. First call, so local FBI. Doesn't, how do I get it to show me the length of a call? I really need a log of how long each call was or how long each call went. Google Android, do something to list how long a call was so I can show how long I talked with somebody. It's a really nice update. Android 10 is really nice. Um, like I've got the address and everything stored in here, but I really need something that tells me about my call history with them and how long each call lasted or went for. I really like that to know which call was which. Anyways, let's put in FBI. See something, say something. Man, I don't even know which one is which. 202. I want the 1-800 number. Why do I have the phone number for each location instead of the national number? There's like a 1-800 number. Looking it up now. 1-800 call the FBI. All right. And the phone number is in fact 1-800 call FBI. Oh, all right. So 2255324. All right. So let's try and add that to my contacts. 1-800-2255-324. I didn't even realize that was my phone number. I had an FBI phone number for my phone. It's hysterical. I used to have the number 2255-5522. Actually, my number was the reverse of that. Trying to save it to my contacts. You can tell I'm really popular with the women with how I fight with the phone. It's like, I got that push button, push button. I'm not trying to push buttons. I just accidentally called it. I'm trying to save the damn number to my phone. Apparently it's already in my phone somewhere. Whatever.
Hello. Thank you for calling the FBI. This is not a 911 service for taking emergency calls. For emergencies, please call 911.
Si usted desea escuchar este mensaje en español, por favor oprima el número 1.
By the way, the FBI only allows 5 minutes rest between exercises. So honestly, I'm okay with the AI software picking up if someone's on hold for 5 minutes. It's just good courtesy. You shouldn't have to wait 15 minutes at a time or 12 minutes at a time or 10 minutes at a time. 5 minutes is perfectly fine for the law.
The persons about whom you are calling. We use this information to assist
This
in
is a
investigating your tip. You do not have to provide your name or other personal information.
weekly planner. Would like all weekly planners to start in November before Thanksgiving.
You provide may be used for authorized purposes. To report a suspicious email,
59 days before the year.
Press 1. To report a tip about threat to human life, serious bodily injury, or significant violent action, press 2. To report a tip on an FBI fugitive, press 3. To report a tip on an FBI case currently highlighted in the news, press 4.
Highlighted in the what?
Report mortgage fraud, press 5. To report telemarketing fraud, gift card fraud, identity theft, or unfair or fraudulent business practices, press 6. If you are calling about any other issue, press 7. To repeat this menu, please press the pound key.
Well, I guess we're going to go 6. I really think it's 2 with a threat to human life and all that, but it's a business that's doing theft of service.
Thank you for contacting us. Please follow
Familytree.com.
www.ftccomplaintassistant.gov. Once again, that website is www.ftccomplaintassistant.gov.
FPC.com.
Thank you for contacting us. Please file a report with the Federal Trade Commission at www.ftccomplaintassistant.gov. Once again, that website is www.ftccomplaintassistant.gov. Thank you.
And things like that should just be on infinite loop. There's nobody on the phone. You could hear that even though this is Google Fi with the like premium service. Let me make sure Bluetooth is turned off. Anyways, it's Google Fi. I'm with Google. It's a Pixel 3 XL on the Google Fi. It even has the secure VPN connection.
Here's what I found on the web.
I'm trying to write down a complaint that those audio systems really do need to be on loop until somebody hangs up for at least 5 minutes. It's just a digital assistant. Call logs aren't that heavy. And like I said, it actually is a threat to human life. It's not that they're being unfair. It's that the goal is to kill people, and that they're complicit in allowing that to happen. So we're going to try the phone number again. And this time we're going to listen to the menu one more time. Pretty sure it's number 2, which is like, you're full of shit if you think people are getting hurt by people doing DNA hunting, team hunting online. You're full of shit. Right up. No. I'm like, no, no. Why would that be number 2? It's like number 6 is over here. It's like at the end of the day, what matters is the bottom line. Businesses got to rob people. If we don't rob people, then I'm like, FBI really needs to work on its phone tree. You saw a moment ago, I had a 16-minute wait with no answer. I just hung up after 16 minutes with the local FBI. I'm now reaching out to the national call center and they're like, hey, we're national. We cover the nation. But if it's a business, we're not interested in hearing any crimes from business. I'm like, what? Well, why would you reject any complaints about business practices that are federal crimes? Say, no, go talk to the Trade Commission. We've got a lot of foreigners to make victims of. And the Foreign Trade Commission or Federal Trade Commission, it's not the Department of Commerce. They should be referring me to the Department of Commerce if it's a crime of economic or business nature. The Department of Commerce is the United States. The Federal Department of Trade typically means across borders, or and so that just kind of had the. I'm looking it up right now to see what is the Federal Trade. Like, did they say .com instead of .gov? Why the hell would the FTC be a .com instead of a .gov? It's like they're referring it out to another business. They're not even referring me to a government agency. They're referring me to another business, ftc.com. That's what I wrote down. Maybe I should just put in FTC and see what comes up. Their business is victimizing anybody who isn't an albino turkey or an albino chicken. But that's not something to be complicit in. I like Comey and Mueller, and I don't know what to make of Robinstein or Robinson or whatever his name is. One moment. What do you mean have a duplicate contact? Show me what the heck the duplicate contact is. Represent us. Well, merge. Don't delete. Merge. All right. It was represent us. Was the duplicate contact on my phone. All right. Well, I don't know what's going on here. FTC. Okay, so I actually got a .gov. That's fantastic. Formed in 1914. Most of our agencies were formed in the 1900s. It's kind of weird. But why would it be the Federal Trade instead of the Department of Commerce? It's like, you being betrayed. You're being federally betrayed. Fuck, man. Yeah, I'm sure of it. Betrayed. Go, FBI says, go betrayed. It's like, I'm a victim. It's like, tell me something new about being in any way identified as not an albino turkey. This is a country where having an albino chicken or an albino turkey makes you a member of the clan. If your animal and your lifestyle isn't albino, you're not a part of the clan. Anyways, so I'm looking at the website about FTC. I'm going to put in the word complaint and see what happens. FTC/complaint. I'm doing what the FBI told me. I'm a good boy. Can I have my doggy biscuit? Someone's fucking laughing. Scooby snack, not doggy biscuit. I hate doggy biscuits, and I have tried them. It's like, man, why? Listen, this woman named White, Betty White, who is a wonderful, sweet woman that has somehow started chanting white supremacy. I'm like, Betty, you're too on the nose with your name on Twitter, because she was doing some commercials recently. Like, oh my God, who's writing these scripts? But Betty, you're too on point. I don't even think that you are white. You might have white hair, but you're not actually a white race. Anyways, so identity theft, the donotcall.gov, and e-consumer report international scams. Well, it is an international scam, but I'm trying to report something. See, I told you foreign trade. Instead of sending me a commerce for a U.S. company that's cheating out customers, the FBI is like, no. The U.S. is hunting and killing the U.S. If you're at all foreign, you should go talk to a foreign agency. Because we don't need any record in the local, state, or federal database. You can go be in the foreign database that you're a victim. None of us need to know that after they come here on the J1 visa because they're J1 haplogroup, the FBI goal is to make them victims. It's like I was upset when they started calling it haplo trees instead of haplo groups. Because nobody's pure. You can't separate it into a separate tree. And you can't really cross-meld them to create a new hybrid tree. You can create hybrids. But to say it's a tree, no. It's not. Because there's these base pairs that get sequenced. And eventually they'll be able to classify them that way. Eventually they will be able to say a base tree. But there are too many people that don't cross-pollinate. So you're always going to wind up with groups fighting the smaller groups. I mean, they rigged up the Senate to be a majority and a minority leader, a leader for each, and only two. It's kind of interesting that people try to create tea parties and other parties. Said there were alternative names in politics, but it's the actual legal structure that has to change. I got caught up in that myself with wanting to bring back Calford and doing all that on my own and changing my driver's license to Calford and adding a mailbox because we have 3 separate lots and giving myself an address for each lot, even though the city wouldn't do that. We have to change the laws where the block is a 100% distance and wherever the mailbox is that percentage of the distance and that increment of number. That needs to be a federal law. In my neighborhood, they cheated down the block to get rid of the top third of my lot because their goal is to kill a third of all the intelligent people on the earth. Only a third of the United States goes to college, and a third of those who get to college get killed off as sterile creatures for trying to learn a different way of life other than a gun to a police officer's head. I mean, that's actually what education the secret message is about, 20 to 34%. So let's just say 20 to greater than 32% of those who go to college are childless and have been for several decades now, going back to like the 1970s when we started having the obesity shift. Free public education. Maybe that's the reason Betsy DeVos is so excited about charter schools, but it's a mistake because the federal government is paying the exact same money it would have paid to the public school, to the private school, and now all the fat people get to hunt her without there being a central federal database of students and information like that. By putting them in charter schools, there's no way to protect us from little clans or cliques forming hunting parties at any particular school to scour the nation to get rid of everybody who isn't an albino turkey or an albino chicken. By the way, White Shrine, I should just say White Shrine, it's the Free and Accepted Masons. It's their goal to kill everybody who's smart, pretty, or athletic. United States is the most obese nation in the world, and it's by killing them off that we've achieved that. It's not our food, it's not our diet, it's not our exercise. It really is something that started with the attack on Ma Bell. AT&T learned of the plot or the goal to get rid of everyone who is actually pretty, but it's an instinct to hide pretty behind you. But their first goal is to target pretty. Their second goal is to target fit. Their third goal is the smart people. So once you achieve the pretty and the fit being corrupted, you're then 2/3 versus the 1/3 of intelligent people, and that's 2 to 1, and it makes it very difficult for intelligent people to fight a system that lies. Like the number of a million is 10 to the third, not 10 to the sixth. It's milli of 1, which is 1,000 units. Milli of 1 is 1,000 units to divide the Henry VIII. We get confused thinking it's Magna Carta, and people have redrawn the Magna Carta trying to make people look thin to fool the thin people, but they've destroyed so many records. By the way, I am Sir Edwin Sandys, but I'm actually, if you want to see my phenotype, my visual match for the nose and everything, you have to look at his father from 1509 AD in England, Yorkshire. Edwin Sandys, Archbishop at York. I'm Edwin Sandys, Archbishop at York, and a lot of those records aren't being preserved. Family tree just deleted my entire family tree, or I don't know if they deleted it. They locked me out of my account. I don't have access to my DNA results or any of it. Anyways, it's weird, but talking to YouTube and like not even able to show you the screen. YouTube's been like blocked from having a screen sharing app, and I'm on a PixelBook, which isn't compatible with the YouTube streaming app. I really don't understand the difference between the webcam and the stream, but the streaming app, I want to show my screen. It's like you have to install software to see your screen. It's kind of their message. Education. I'm like serious. And like there's already enemies in the Google Drive, sorting and doing strange things with the algorithms for Google Drive. I don't remember who controls Google Drive. I was told a few times that all of the drive companies are controlled by the Black Knights or something. I was told that here in Jacksonville. There's one company like Black Century or something, but it's white people. It's like whatever they're after to kill. I'm a Christian, so let's go kill Christians. That's Jerusalem, Palestine, Syria. The Aleppo Codex, that is where the Bible came from, Syria. So they're sending Russians to do it. So I'm a Christian, I'm Orthodox, but and Obama was in on it, killing all of them too. It's just weird. It's frustrating. Everybody's under military mind control. It's quark radar that controls everybody's heads. The up, down, spin states is how they read radar. But the definition of radar is radio amplification. Pushes out, amplifies, sends out electrical charge to atoms. Now, the quark is reading the spin of the atoms, but they figured out that they can shape what they push, and they can actually spin the atoms themselves in different directions, and that produces EEG, which is electroencephalogram, electromyogram, muscle stimulation, and usually by a binary two-pole kind of physics, they can produce electrical charges in the brain to move neurons and transmit signals they recorded from somebody's head. They can transmit to somebody else's head using radar. And soon, I think that the 5G, I think 5G is going to allow them to do that with the phased array and mobile phone towers. The switching is fast enough that if you peg someone enough times, quick enough, I think that it can induce spin in people's brains and cause whatever it's saying. But I always blame radar, and it's just easier because this is high power stuff, and I can't imagine mobile phone towers being powerful enough to do the kinds of things I'm experiencing. It's definitely Army radar, but I think it's controlled by IBM and the Department of Intelligence, Department of DIA, Department of Intelligence Agency, Defense Intelligence Agency. The DIA is Defense Intelligence Agency, I think, is behind it all. Army maintains the radars, and they don't really know anything about it. They just set up radars. They're not in the software department. The software department is the Defense Intelligence Agency, which is unfortunately very KKK. And they're so fixated on being KKK that they're allowing us to have albino chickens, albino turkeys, clear cut and destroy everything. And I've met many people who are former military or drive Hummers and stuff like that, the big old vehicles. They're like, live for today, man. What does tomorrow matter? Leave that to the kids. And big old husky men. And they managed to marry the petite women that's their intention to murder. And I'm just kind of like, that's really fucking confusing. It's like they marry women like families adopt dogs. And when it comes to the planning for the kids, I think they do less future planning for their wives and their children than some breeders do for their dogs, with trying to make sure their dog marries another family name or this or that. DNA sequencing and all that, and having a chip so you can locate them wherever they go and stuff. Phones, they tried to have the tracking, the whole family could track each other and see where they are, but people are more interested in finding their dogs than finding their family or kids being found by their parents, because of the divorce rate and the love rate in the United States being mostly on TV and in society. Everybody's just kind of cold. I'm like, damn, the best friends all grown up. Why can't we be best friends for life? It's like when you talk about AE 9/11 truth, and you talk about pilots for truth, and you talk about how the Bible came from a race that wasn't clan loyal. Forgive me. It's an ongoing thing. It's actually 1 Corinthians 3, the pallbearers versus the Apollos. And then there's Sinterklaas and Black Pete. So the Apollos are actually the Arabs and the tan races. And a lot of Africans get slaved to be the Black Pete of Sinterklaas. It's not Santa Claus, it's Sinterklaas. It was invented overseas by a school teacher who believed in child rape and Yule offerings, things like that. And that was really the thing. In order to control the numbers of people, children would go missing and stuff like that. But that's the sanitized version. Their goal with that was actually racial divisions. In 1915, it became apparent in the United States with killing Jews of the globe, the 12 million Jews. They limit the number to 12 million total. And then they said, well, we're going to kill half of them, 6 million of them, the 12 tribes, kill half of them. Anytime math doesn't make sense, the goal is to kill the mathematicians. That's always been. The Bible's got things like 1 Kings 7, where it talks about the cauldron. And like I called, let's try calling again. to the FBI, but the cauldron is 10 foot across, and the circumference of the cauldron is 30 feet. But if you know pi, and it's that big, you could just walk around it with your own feet. You would know it's going to be like 31.415 or something. 3.1415, or is it 16? Might be 16 because it's 159. So you round it down to 16. 1416. Frustrating. They taught me wrong in school. We're just going to stop here at the 3.1415. And we're not going to mention that the next number is 9. And that's a 5, so you would round it up to 6. Anyways. Ha ha ha. Because the goal was always to circumcise us down to 5-inch penis everywhere. And that's the reason they're trying to get along with the Chinese, because they want the fat Chinese, the fat Buddha, to kill all the fit Chinese. And that all the tall people are African DNA, and all the smart people are Arab DNA. Royal Arch is another way to say Arab. All the Royal Arch are Arabs. It's a perfect arc when you turn the globe, but when you it's a perfect arc when you look at the globe axial, but when you rotate the globe, it's then a straight line from about where Taiwan is on the China coast across the Himalayas, arcing through Cairo and Israel over to Liberia. It's easy to say. Why is it so difficult? It's 8,005. It's 8,000. I know the number. It's 8,444. Okay, it's 8,444 miles. Also 13,589 kilometers. But I was trying to say that the distance, and it's really stupidly easy to memorize. It's 8,444 miles, 8,444 miles. And I guess to teach you, say it one number at a time, but that radar like technology had me say 5 instead of 4. I can't figure out why that is. But it's true. There's a conspiracy against, it's like the thickness is healthy. This is intelligence. And people believe that by learning to keep things to themselves, that makes them more intelligent. But it's their dangerousness. It's not their IQ. It's just the danger potential is by not responding. It's one of those like horror movie things, like, where are they, Marco? And the evil guy should like yell out Polo, but it's like the evil, no, I'm too smart to yell out Polo, so I'm now smarter than you because I'm the evil guy. I'm like, being evil is never smart. It's really not. I get that people to defend themselves might do that, but in society, the only way to get a future for society, not just the individual. I know that people stress, but the way for society is to have everything just matter of fact. Get back to agriculture. We only need about 15 watts per hour of electricity. And so everything is like overcharged. And there's 4 light bulbs out there. They're like little tea lights, and spotlights. That's my kitchen bar I'm sitting at. Anyways. All right. So calling the FBI. National phone line, Federal Trade Commission is just, if it's a company, it means you're a foreigner that's attacking you. Or, anyways, the FBI aren't supposed to be like that. I've spent my entire life always be FBI, always be honest, always be vigilant. Candor is kind of confusing. Candid camera, all that. I didn't understand that candid actually means like to burn, to set fire to. It has nothing to do with color. It means to get rid of the evidence. And the CIA's job is to get rid of evidence. That they value people who can get rid of evidence. Anyway. Hello, do you know who you're talking to? So that's TikTok. It just like kicked on my phone. Let's see. I'm trying to use my phone app, and I open up a different app. There's a little pop-up box. It's like, whoa. Anyways, so FBI. Why does it say Gate Parkway, Lincoln West, Jacksonville? I have the national goddamn phone number. I really need to show the phone number for all of them. Okay, so there's no mention of a phone number here or there. It's like it's not even in my phone. It's weird. 1-800. 1-800. Trying to. It's easy. It's even part of. It's like the backwards of my own phone number. 1-800 call FBI, which is 2255324. I'll call. I'm going to try and edit this because I just have Federal Bureau of Investigations.
Hello. Thank you for calling the FBI.
But it doesn't
This
say
is not
FBI.
a 911 service for taking emergency calls. For emergencies, please call 911.
Si usted desea escuchar este mensaje en español, por favor oprima el número 1.
In a few moments, you will be connected to an operator. This call will be recorded for quality assurance, investigative, or other purposes. If you do not wish to be recorded, please hang up and submit your tip online at tips.fbi.gov. During this call, you will be asked to provide identifying information about yourself and/or the persons about whom you are calling. We use this information to assist in investigating your tip. You do not have to provide your name or other personal information. However, the lack of information may delay or hurt our ability to investigate your tip.
No shit. Don't put me on hold for 16 minutes and then not answer your other phone numbers and transfer me to the Federal Trade Commission.
Hacked email, internet scam, or ID theft. Press 1. To report a tip about threat to human life, serious bodily injury, or significant violent action, press 2. To report a tip on an FBI fugitive, press 3. To report a tip on an FBI case currently highlighted in the news, press 4. To report mortgage fraud, press 5. To report telemarketing fraud, gift card fraud, identity theft, or unfair or fraudulent business practices, press 6. If you are calling about any other issue, press 7. To repeat this menu,
It's hysterical because I was told before all this started that the FBI are the
provide the zip
KKK.
code of the area you are calling from now. I'm sorry, we did not get your response.
Episode. I did. I dialed it.
Please pro- One moment while I transfer you to the next available representative. Your call will now be recorded.
I pressed option 2 like I said in the other video.
FBI, can I have your name, please?
Hello, my name is Neil Sandage, Neilsandage.
Okay, Neil
Mm-hmm.
SAN.
D as in David, Daniel, Delaware, Dakota, Davis.
Okay, SAND. How do you say your last name?
Alpha Golf Echo.
So it's SANDAGE.
That sounds right.
Okay, and your date of birth, sir?
1978, 0707.
(0707-1978). And a phone number with your area code first.
You need to update the FBI's standard to the ISO International Date Standard. When you're doing research, you're always searching year and not day. I'm born in a year, and then I'm born on a day in that year.
Okay, sir. Do you want to provide your phone number with your area code first?
Yes, 904-480-2170.
Okay, 904-480-2170.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct. What is your name?
Okay. And is that a home phone or cell phone?
I call it a mobile. I find it very strange
Okay.
that people would call a mobile phone a cell phone. What about a
Okay.
what about a
sir,
phone
what
is
is your
cell?
zip code? Sir, what is your zip code?
Okay, so 3220. What's that zip code? Zip. Okay, no, that's 32207.
32207. Okay.
Yeah, it's got caller ID,
And what federal
and I had
crime
to.
are you reporting, sir?
What is it, ma'am?
Excuse me?
I was asking your name
What federal
before.
crime are you reporting?
Now, I was trying to get your name.
I can give you my ID is 9170.
9170. What kind of ID is that? Is that your extension?
No, sir. That's our ID.
What is the name for that ID?
Sir, do you have a federal crime to report?
I do.
Okay.
I chose
What is the
option
federal
2.
crime?
I chose option 2 in the menu.
What is?
Because people are targeting DNA in corporations. Family Tree DNA found out that I had Arab DNA and locked me out of my account. And they're saying that they don't have to provide me any service and they don't have to tell me what I did. But even though I spent over $1,000,
Okay, so you're having an internet issue.
why would you call that an internet issue?
Is that what you just said? You were locked out of your account?
You just said that you were having an internet issue.
I said, were you? Are you having an internet issue?
No. It's the staff there, because I'm Arab or of Arab DNA. It's Royal Arch, because I'm Royal Arch DNA, and because my family predates the Crusades in Libya, North Africa. They're trying to get rid of anyone who's less than 33 body mass index.
Okay, sir. I'll doc the
Wait.
Thank you and have a good day.
You don't understand? Great. You don't really understand why people get angry. Yeah, I know. She's like, well, we'll just have to call again. It's not a problem. Sometimes you meet people who want everybody just to drop dead, and all they got to do is show up to work. So she's one of those. She's like, oh, you're locked out of your account, so I don't need to hear anymore. It's like they had a chat session with me where they explained that my account and all my data, my family tree data, my GED.com files, my GED files, GED files, which is what they call the family tree file, and my genetic sample and all the research I paid for, they're confiscating as their property, and then I'm not allowed access to any of the research I paid for. And there are also a bunch of Knight Templars in the forum, specifically out to purge and kill anybody who isn't for the albino white shrine. I don't know why I keep saying albino. The free and accepted Masonic goal is for everything to end in white shrine. They start over here with Shriners, York Rite, Scottish Rite. There's 2 in the middle. Then at the end is Job's Daughters. It's like the rainbows and turning them all purple in the face or something is the goal. Again, you would have to see the website, Florida Grand Lodge. So there's the kind of husky. He got a turtleneck on him. You can see on his throat, he doesn't really have a neck on him. It just drops from the chin straight through the collar. And that's the master race, basically. Round head, flat hair, always flat hair. Anybody that's got any lift or heft to their hair, they're not considered an albino turkey or an albino chicken. Like, I don't even think albino turkeys have the chest puff. I think that they have flat chests. They got rid of the turkey crest. So, you know, they're trying to get rid of all protrusions. Chicken combs are gone. It used to be that chickens had big gullets and big combs. They got rid of that too. The goal is to like compact and round out the physical structure of all humans. And so it's a good example of the master race, except they're actually fatter. He's just in a healthy condition, thanks to the luxury of whatever lifestyle he's leading. So he's actually healthier and more fit than what they would normally look like. Scrolling down to the menus. All right, so it looks a little bit different on a phone. I'll convert it to the desk view because I made it like a ladder. You can see it resets. This is row 2 then, is the gold and in white shrine. So it starts up here with Shriners. Oops, I didn't mean to click on demolay. So first they kill and poison the children. Then they raise them as Yorkite in the Yorkite faith. From the Yorkite, they pick out those that are going to be greater than 33 BMI, body mass index, and those that are going to be snow hair, because they just fuck with their brains and convince them who they are. They tell them that the goal is to get rid of anybody with hair color. The Order of the Eastern Star, they got hair color over there in China and other places. It's not actually just about penis. The template really is to be an albino chicken or an albino turkey. They want whiteness. But for right now, they just tell these whiteheads that the goal is to get rid of all Order of the Eastern Star. And then demolay is about you have to do it without using physical violence. They killed demolay, who was a soldier who fought by the sword. And they try and conceal it in the United States, but 3,000 to 7,000 veterans commit suicide a year. They try and say it's just active duty that has like maybe 100 or something a year. That's because morale. They have chaplains in there to delay and yet to plant the suicide for after they withdraw from the military. It's like they lack spirituality. I mean, that's actually what they were teaching in my college psychology class. And I objected to him, like, if you believe in spirituality, you would feel guilt. Don't tell those that are feeling guilt and because of the guilt concerning suicide that you're just not spiritual enough. Because if they were any more spiritual, they would just off themselves right there in front of you. I'm serious. And they're like, you're just not spiritual enough. You need more God. I'm like, you got to understand that it's God who's trying to kill everybody who's pretty, physically fit. And then the third is IQ. It really is get pretty and make her think that she's a different species from man, that there isn't any division between them. There isn't an LGBT. We're all humans. We just are born with one organ or the other. And according to that organ, we're supposed to fulfill our function in life. My primary function is to find a woman, start a family, and to raise them. But biologically, there's no such thing as LGBT. Why would the nation celebrate? Go cut off your penis, go cut off your vagina, go cut your tits off, or cut your tits open and put something in them. We've got girls of size G breasts. I've felt them and dated them. Yeah, I've dated them. And I've met more than one woman with just bigger than I've used fishing nets that are smaller than her breast cup, but and yeah, they leave like horrible scars on their fucking breasts that just aren't natural surgical scars, that are like intentional. These doctors that are from these groups. It's like Shriners are typically look like fit, thin guys, but the goal is to only have those with twice the body mass of everybody else, both man and woman, as the final master race. And so, anyways, getting rid of all colors, but Demo lays a warning not to do it through physical brutality, because they'll cook you or you'll go to jail if they catch what you're up to. So Demolay was a crusader who got killed because he lived by the sword, and instead it's by poisons, by cheating, by erasing and burning records, by any means that will allow us to get rid of pretty and us. I'm not us. Earlier I did like I'm a number 4. I'm not a number 4. It's just I understand their secrets because I like pinball. I interact with people and I'm like, damn it. I was like, the stuff that I've learned, I really shouldn't be seeing it out in society. But anyways, and so and they can talk until they're blue or purple in the face. The women about how unfair it is to get rid of anybody who's pretty, anybody who's athletic, and anybody who's intelligent. They can talk until they're blue in the face. Job's daughters is just like, shut up and deal with being a whore dog for us to fuck or something, is the message there. They made them purple. Nobody uses purple. It's used as like a scarf that men wear around their neck, like mink or an animal fur. People wear those big furs around their neck. Purple in religious services. No different than people that have fur collars. Anyways. And so this is the one that upsets me. The grotto kind of tries to play on the Viking thing and Viking white. And really, we're all Arab and they know that. And so Sweden has the largest penis of all the European races. Hi, I'm Sweden, M253. And Order of Aramanth, right there, that's food. And it's really like molest the minds or bodies of the daughters of the rainbow. Odin's rainbow is his daughters of the grotto, to try and get these guys to do that and mind fuck them into things. Shania Twain, Pamela Anderson, and all these. And they use radar to induce this in people's brains, these strange whatever things. I don't know enough about the details. I've experienced like puppetry where the words I'm saying, it's like, what? And it's like, anyways. But this happened in 1957. There's a U.S. Army commercial. It's not a commercial. It's a movie. There's a U.S. Army movie called Drafty, Isn't It? Drafty, Isn't It? Drafty, Ain't It? Or Drafty, Isn't It? I'm pretty sure Drafty, Isn't It? Is the correct name. It's by Warner Brothers. It came out in 1957. U.S. Army paid for a lot of cartoons throughout its history. But when it started doing the radar control of people's emotions to get all the scientists to molest their daughters, like this. The Aramanth is a seed from the flowers of things. And it's something you can eat, like sesame seeds. They look like that, but they're more tasty. Tall cedars is cedar oil, and cedar stuff will cause respiratory congestion and problems. Could maybe be death. But all I've seen is just really ills like hay fever. Cedar or pine trees cause that kind of hay fever and respiratory problems. So by tricking these guys into having sex with their daughters or something, or sharing their daughters, that causes them the cedar congestion where they can't talk because they either shared their daughter or did their daughter or something. And so that's like a cone of silence. I see those are cones. This is from Get Smart. There was a TV series when I was growing up called Get Smart on Nickelodeon and stuff. So those are cones of silence. And they're trapped in there trying to educate people without like confessing or telling anything. But It's just a weird thing. And then Rainbow Girls is back to, or the Eastern Star, because the Royal Arch is actually the rainbow. The Royal Arch goes from Liberia through Cairo, Israel, Iraq, just past Iran, around the Himalayas, and then arcs back down through China. I'll memorize all the different countries. Libya too. I'm from Libya. IQ is where your IQ comes from, and ends near Taiwan on the coast of China, or off the coast of China. And so if you rotate the globe, it's actually a straight line, and then you turn the line over and it looks like an arc. But it's the Royal Arch. It's in the Bible. I have a screenshot of the Bible verse, but I'll have to write it out to memorize the verse. And so trying to use this to trick and misguide. They're like a honeypot. I guess you could call it a honeypot. We got sesame cookies. So Aramanth, a honeypot, to attract and create a false sense of comfort or safety for all the rainbow races, because there's really, per 1 Corinthians 3 goal, there's really only 3 races in the United States, and they're underperforming. They embrace that, and so that's the reason they've been fighting record keeping. Patents only allow asexual plants. Plants that fuck themselves are the only ones allowed to be patented. Plants that have sex aren't allowed to be patented. Genetics aren't allowed to be patented because they don't fuck themselves. They fuck other people. So they don't want any genetics that points to any other race. And that ties back to demole and talk until they're blue or purple in the face. Trying to remember that. So demole, try and get away with things without using physical violence. But there are plenty of them that threaten to have somebody else do the physical violence. So it's just a warning to them to always pay off somebody else to do the crime. Because, you know, cowards can win if they pay someone else to go to jail. And then the high 12. So using these cross pollens as a toxin to confuse the daughters of the 12 tribes. Like, they're trying to send off all these girls to college, and they've got models like Merkel marrying into the royal family in England, and they've got Hillary, who only has one daughter, champion education. And the goal, only a third of population goes to university, and then a third of those that go to university aren't allowed to have children. So it's to raise up their minds and fill their heads full of ideas to put them out of contact with ground level and ground intelligence so that white shrine can cover the ground. And again, the cedar tree is good for killing moths and repelling things. But in Japan, they have fevers or coughs, and they wear those masks because of the cedar trees affecting their respiratory system in Japan. And that's the highest IQ there is the Japanese. I mean, Royal Arch connects with it in some way. I can't figure out how the hell our connection, it's not really a mystery. We were sailing. But it's just, I think Japan is really amazing. Shinto is the smartest religion there is. There'll never be any religion smarter than them. Now, I'm trying. But order of operation, order of procession, while these guys are trying to reduce us to albino chicken and then use synthetic DNA to encode all the DNA they envy as synthetic DNA, and then write it back into themselves later after they've become albino chickens to become human again later, to make themselves blind. There's a Apple TV series called C, or CTV, where the goal is to reduce the species to where they can't see what is special or what's interesting. And then in a secret chest somewhere, They imagine they'll find like all this synthetic DNA they've encoded, NASA and these other companies. And then they'll read that DNA and they'll be like, oh, but this makes you smarter. This makes you more athletic. This makes you a better fisherman. This gives you better lungs for swimming under the water and snorkeling and catching fish by hand. And they're not interested in any of that. They're all about like nuclear power. I don't even fight with nuclear power. I'm like, fine, just no coal. I found out that was wrong. Nuclear releases tritium. And I don't know what safe nuclear is. I'm going to tell you that radioactivity isn't safe. It was never safe. But I'm just terrified of all the damage they're doing. And I didn't understand that they were throwing tritium into the oceans. So I apologize. My solution has been and always was before they set fire to my house to shift us from municipal grids and to go with campfires, not campfires. Remote control speaking just happened. I bought a Emberlit. Emberlit is a titanium stove. I bought a titanium stove off of Amazon for $80. They're now $40. So many people have done what I did after I did it, that the prices come down. And titanium stove that can burn stuff from your yard clippings and your grass clippings. Anyways, this is frustrating. I really want to show you on the screen what's going on. But so Emberlit titanium stove, a 15-watt solar panel, and a 10,000 milliamp battery is all it takes to survive. Architecture has to improve so there's more natural light. I love going to bed when the sun sets. I don't understand what the obsession is. No, you have to stay up after night and watch TV. TV is going to tell you something really important and make you intelligent and a better human. Everything on TV is fiction after sunset. The news, I guess the news needs to happen before sunset more often, but during the summer, the news is before sunset. You got the 6 o'clock and the 7 o'clock news. And it's like, no, come back around 10 and then come back at midnight for news and then all night 24-hour news, which isn't a bad idea. But the amount of electricity with people's TVs and stuff, the news ought to switch over to audio only and only do pictures when pictures are needed. That's an opinion. Whatever will allow us to achieve 20 watts. I was saying 15 watts. What I did was 15 watts. But what I believe is that God is 32 and man is 20 teeth. God is 32 teeth and man is 20 teeth. And what we have to do is we have to spare the 12 of every property to God, and we can only use the 20 of each property. And that's Payah. The Etzheim Synagogue in Jacksonville trespassed me because I came there to ask and learn about that. And they want to destroy the earth and be holocausted again. I'm like, why would Jews want to be holocausted again? Oh, the rabbi in charge is really obese and fat. And Mensa is a big network. So he's probably Mensa. And Mensa from here talked to a Mensa who told him and got me trespassed from Etzheim synagogue. I'm like, I would love to go to a synagogue and attend the Iraq service at 9 a.m. and the European service at 10 p.m. Because it's a constant. Iraq is always the origin of Adam and Eve. And 9 is a constant in the numerical system of everything. If you ever did any math, you can always see when 9's been used as a multiple. The numbers always look a little bit strange or add up a little bit strange. Anyways, let's see. But yeah, that's it. Anyways, Shriners, they cause the birth deformities and kill the women in labor. It's going on in Africa right now. Like 5 or 1 in 4 of women dying in childbirth. I was like, that's not natural. Well, I mean, as a species, we survived because of how safe childbirth really is. And so that's proof. And then York Wright, convert everybody to this 1 John 1:14. And the joke is that John is the absolute race between two ones. John is the first race. And then up to 14, we try and keep them pure angels to not know the differences between themselves and to destroy the textbooks and to make sure they only learn fiction as their reading material. Like, I would much rather be reading biographies of all our leaders, trying to make better children, better nations, better futures through truth. And these people are so criminal intent that the truth always breaks down. It's like, oh, but they shouldn't know we want to murder everybody. It's like, it's like you got to tell them the truth. And if that's our history, and that's our history with presidents like Obama blowing up the Somalians and killing all the Africans that are thin like him, and then bringing over thin ones to the United States to interrupt a constant slope. Half of the thin people in the United States have been killed in the past, 4 decades or something. They were like 5% of the population. Now they were 2.5% of the population. Obama imported some to put on top of the pile and continue killing everybody who's fit and thin and pretty, or a good runner. Because, people like cars and they like pulling plant fats, like the olive oil on the shelf, all the seeds, flaxseed oil, sunflower oil, flower seed oil, rapeseed oil is a flower up in Canada that becomes canola. It doesn't become canola. It was always a flower. And just somebody captured it from going into the soil and decided, I'm going to squeeze it and I'm going to put it on a shelf. Because they like raping women as like their theme. And it's just like, it's weird. And then a few women, I don't know, they don't get enough attention, so they appreciate getting raped or something. Again, if they're doing this thing with sampling stuff while it's young, girls' brains get a little bit, I really don't want to say anything about that. The one that I met was like, a man's got needs, dad had needs, and mama was gone, and it was just dad and I, and, man's got needs. Like, no, it's not a laugh. It's not like that. Telling the story to you, I'm like, is that really an excuse for a man having sex with his daughter? Is that the wife isn't in the house? No, it's not. It's not an excuse. It's not an excuse or anything like that. And it's the reason that no daughter should ever be awarded to the father, even if the mother is a drug addict or whatever. The daughter should always go with the mother or the mother's family, grandparents, cousins, you name it. And that should always be her right. There shouldn't be a foster care system. I'm saying that wrong. A trapeze system, a parachute system. I don't really remember what foster means. Faust. These are the dead people, and we're training our dogs to help us hunt other dogs. Anyway, training cats to hunt other cats. But I'll look up the word foster after this video. But a parachute system where the government does like orphanage or something. I really don't like any of those words or any of those things. Kids are pretty darn self-sustainable. I don't think people want to admit how smart they are. But the fact is, they could like raise themselves like with a TV. If the information was all truth and none of it was fiction, they really could. And then they would be like given a family tree, the JED file that familytree.com has cut me off from access to. I uploaded it. And the moment they got like my family information, they cut me off from access to the information I gave them. I'm like, how does that make any sense? That doesn't make any sense. By the way, women are the X and Y chromosome, which do get blended. They do get blended. There is no, you only get this one or that one. That's a complete lie. That's these people here lying so they can kill off the woman and the woman tree by telling the men, you only got your dad's thing, you didn't get your mom's thing. And no, mom's vagina can be also a penis. It's just how the DNA decides to draw the information that it's collected. And people have told me temperature actually controls which gender you come out as. I'm like, don't believe it, but my ears are open. I'm like, I would like to understand, how does that work? How does temperature decide which gender somebody is? I'm like, I don't know. Hot flashes, when we come out with radar, I've experienced the hot flash. Like, I love math and science, but I'm not into you like that. Someone's kind of laughing. It was like, I was like a teenager, and it was somebody who was explaining to me R values and insulation. And I thought, wow, I don't know why that was a wow to me. Because it's not actually a clean math, it's an estimate or guesstimate. Because cold sinks, and so taller ceilings are actually better than, or cooler than, low ceilings. So all the houses in the United States, because this R value shit, they didn't do the math right, put low ceilings, but that traps our body heat and concentrates our body heat, which causes a higher electric bill, because our body heat and our breath, we're a continuous thermos of like 100 degrees. I know it says 89.9 or something, but sneeze faster than you can run kind of thing. And respiratory, I'll have to look at it sometime and actually prove it, but I think that's hotter on my hands. If I feel like room temperature, if I feel my body, I think my breath is actually hotter than my body temperature. Some sort of chemical reaction going on here with the exchange of oxygen to the platelets, that your breath is hotter than the thermostat under the tongue. And so that chemical fission, it's a type of fission. It's also exothermic. So whatever your body temperature, it actually comes from the respiratory exchange of air, is where your blood temperature comes from. And so it's hotter in the lung area than it is in the blood. And, heat escapes and stuff. Also, when you run, you can achieve 104 or more body temperature. I've had my temperature taken after a run, and even without intense sunlight, it's really easy to get really hot-bodied and achieve a fever temperature through running, especially if you're fat. You've got way more insulation going on. So the master race is never, ever going to be the Olympic race of the earth. Even if they intend to encode it into themselves later, they'll have destroyed so much agriculture that they won't have the plants and the nutrients to sustain whatever attribute. It's like, well, I'll just give myself the super Ethiopian legs and body, and we'll survive this next turn in human evolution. I'm like, have you looked at Ethiopia? Like, all the plants and vegetation being burned. There's a reason they're in the United States, because your Kenya parks people hate ticks getting on white people, and have decided to set fire to the national forests of all foreign countries every year, so that some person in a Jeep who can't walk, doesn't like horses, doesn't like any kind of animal, a donkey or any other, or camel. And it's like, oh my God, an animal? Oh my God, no, that's unsanitary. I don't even like petting my dog when it's wet or something. I don't know. I was trying to sympathize. It's like, what could they not like about animals? Like, okay, wet dogs are disgusting. Probably wet cats too, but so anyways, it's really true though. Shriners, they by causing deformities, they get to develop their surgical skills. It's one of those things where it might even be outside of them, because this here is really the secret with Demolay, outsourcing the evil and the poisons. And then Shriners get to learn their craft, which is really just cutting on people, because they haven't been studying the plants, and they haven't allowed any of the plants to be patented. Only asexual vegetation, only asexual foods, only foods that fuck themselves are allowed to be eaten. if the food prefers fucking other food, it's not allowed to exist in the United States per United States Patent and Trade Office. Plants that fuck other plants aren't allowed to exist. Only plants that fuck themselves and only themselves are allowed to exist. So anyways, that needs to change. And so, through this, these guys get to cut on people. It's like, oh, this is so fun. I'm cutting up. It's like I have a steak, but it's a pretty little baby. I love cutting up babies. Veal. I mean, pig used to be red meat, but we've made it veal. I'm going to make this little girl go from red meat over to veal, and then I'm going to eat her up! That's how they are. Through demolay, outsourcing. They warn themselves always not to use physical violence. And so Scottish Rite is, who would ever choose deformity? But it's so fun. You get something to cut up on if you let us over here. Fuck up their genetics, then you get to cut on this and separate Siamese twins and all sorts of fun. And the problem is really these guys. I haven't decoded what each of the symbols is supposed to represent or mean. They do like white backgrounds. There's never any agriculture or any farming in any of it. I got swords. I'm going to go kill someone. I got knives. I'm going to cut someone apart and like glue them back together differently. I don't even want to say glue them back together. They sew them back together. And they hope for the body to glue itself. But if you're not giving the body the correct plants or vegetation, they're going to get stretch marks from babies and all sorts of stuff because they're not giving them the correct nutrition. Nutrition is more than an energy to burn and have a torch for a KKK rally. Nutrition is actually a healing thing that plant fats produce. I'm going to stop there. Nutrition is plant fats that heal the body and not just calories, which is this burning obsession for white shrine. Oops. The end of the fucking message. What are we working towards? Final level, Order of the White Shrine. White turkeys, white chickens, pigs being made white, birds being made white. I don't know why someone would think a white dove is a good idea. It'd be easy for other animals of predatory animals. So if you see a white dove against a tree branch or on the ground, this thing kills it in a heartbeat. Why are these people teaching this? It's like we might look like the white dove of peace, but we're predators that eat and kill the white doves. I mean, it's right there on the screen. And their goal, the gold, is to shepherd us into being albino turkeys and albino chickens. Anyways, I'll show you the rest of the page. And there's no more pictures, nothing more to see after that. It's all text. These are our names, and there's just going to be whiteness. And they use purple. You can talk until you're purple in the face. You can try and talk to them all you like. But it's like Job's daughters, not going to tell you nothing that you really want to know. It's up to you to interpret the mysteries and teach other people. That's that demolay thing right there. Because I know they'll get caught if they tell what they're up to. So it's just a trap, a horrible kind of joke, but they're still doing it. And, I guess I should show you the obesity chart just to show you that once they got the ability to use a phone and talk to the others instead of driving to their houses, the entire country started eating itself. Like cannibalizing its people to get rid of those who are fit, pretty, and intelligent. Pretty always first, then fit, then intelligent. They trick our women. The women influence the decisions of men, and then the women and men mess up the minds of the last third, which is really 20%, which Mensa for some reason chose 2%. because it's like the altar of sacrifice. It's just weird. Why wouldn't Mensa themselves declare we're going to welcome in the top 20% of society? The system there says 33% and a third goes to college. So maybe they should just step it up. That college is a separate society from the bottom, which is what I was doing with Facebook. I was telling Facebook it has to be college only. Everybody has to have a current EDU email address or college or education email address to be allowed to have a Facebook account, because the face of the future is always going to be the bottom 66% that didn't go to university. Nobody's made university requirement for everybody. And they've also made it possible to get kicked out of university. But if you have online schools, what does it matter? You're not wasting a teacher's time. It's an online class. It's all recorded. All you have to do is put in like multiple choice, or even the fill in the blank. It has a list of choices that it will scan to see if what you put in there matched had the keywords that it was looking for. So everybody should be required to go to university. Everybody should be required to do schoolwork. And then they would have to kill just like a whole third instead of a third of a third. And people would figure it out, and they'd realize that we all got to get smarter, and we all got to invest in databases and storing information and stopping this Holocaust of stuff. Anyways, maybe Google doesn't want me to scare you, because all these charts. Oh, there's one. All right, so I mean, you can check obesity. This is 1976 or thereabout. Something happened in the 1970s where there was a brief dip in obesity, 12 to 19, and it all started climbing. And it went from 5% of the population. This is when we went off of the gold standard of commodity to lock down how we use our money, to a system where if we can get that 2% to figure out how to cheat money for us and use them like slave dogs. I mean, by default, Mensa should be 4%. They're the four legs that are pulling the fucking cart. You can't get a two-leg man to do it. And maybe that's the reason you have the two-leg man trying to pull trains on tracks and stuff. But that's a mistake. Why would you ever want a man to have to do it? They treat them like animals anyways, even if they're technically smarter than them. They're a minority ethnic group, genetically, the smartest people in the country. And so anyways, but you can see here it says 20%. It's actually higher than that. I've got other charts from the National Institute of Health. This is the National Institute of Diabetes. So that's another government website, but it's worse than that. And anyways, now here's a chart. Here, this is more accurate. If you ever go to Walmart, what does obesity look like? And that's interesting, saying obese men were always like that, but then all the others came up to join them. 40% of men were always obese. They're saying that it came down a little bit by having sex with the models that they're getting rid of, and that obesity in women, overweight versus obese, and that the obesity has been spreading from the overweight people to everybody else because they've been making childlessness a horrible thing. So here's women. Here's the 1970s, 1976 or thereabout. And like Phillips 76, there's a gas station called 76, like Phillips 76, because of cars. But cars make fat and lazy people look sexier. It's just a fact, which is why we really need all the DOT to have body weight measurements things, so we know what's going on, where they are, where they moved to, because they've been acting against us. They blew up Ma Bell because their conspiracy, the Freemason conspiracy, was probably heard by an AT&T employee who told management, and they're like, well, you can't spy on us. That's illegal. And so they just shattered AT&T into a million pieces across the nation, like 12 to 16 different companies, including Verizon. But all of them need to join again, including Verizon, I think. I would definitely believe that. I don't know which company which, but I have no problem with all telecommunications being one company. We got to do something to slow that down and allow pretty people to find pretty people and fit people to find allow fit people to find fit people, and allow smart people to find smart people. We'll have haplo groups or haplo trees. The largest company chose to go with trees. I prefer groups because you merge something, you intermarry anything. I'm Swedish on one side and I'm Libyan on the other, North African, Royal Arch. I'll call myself a Royal Arch. I'm not going to call myself a Mason, though I am. But that's by craft and not by I built a road out of stone by hand with gloves and a sledgehammer. Anyways, after we came together, I prefer being Libyan to. I know we're like a really extreme minority, but they're better natured people. I don't actually know any Swedish. They're all up in Minnesota, Michigan, and way up north in the United States. I am in a cloud of 1 Corinthians 3, who literally did set fire to my house on Martin Luther King Jr. Day of 2017 and bulldoze it while there's still a court case and remove the 3-car garage. They bulldozed the garage. Like, I get that there was a house fire. The garage has a metal roof. And they bulldozed the garage. I'm just kind of like, why? They got rid of the foundation, so I can't even build on top of the foundation. They want a different foundation. But I'm like, the ground compaction, everything would have been fantastic. And I was always building up the property, gardening, putting potting soil and stuff. And anyways, a lot of the Florida soil is being sent to Canada and to northern states because they're trying to make Florida a desert. It's part of their white plan. You know, the Spanish were down here. This was Spanish Florida. So the military's goal is to kill every plant and animal. We used to have deer in Florida. There used to be Florida key deer and Florida deer everywhere. But they have the NRA out hunting them, trying to get rid of the last of the wildlife because they don't want anything that isn't albino. And the albino turkey, the albino chicken is the final goal. And that sounds ridiculous, but it's just a math thing. Tell me where the animals. I got poisons for every rodent there is. I'm like, even cats, which is technically illegal. But I shouldn't even say I got it. It's on the shelf and they'll eat it. It's on the shelf and they'll eat it. And ouch. But this nation under Freemasons in the military, because they put chaplains in the military. We're the fattest, most obese nation. Obesity of nations. Anyways. Obesity of nations. I mean, can you see that? United States is the fattest nation of all. We're fighting to kill anybody who's pretty, who's athletic, or who's intelligent, so that this can increase in its fatness and replace all of them with its fatness. That's the military's final goal. Only fatness. They don't care about the fitness. I know because they recruited a really fat friend of mine as an officer because he had good brains. It was kind of a woman user, but really good brains. And anyways, weirdest thing ever. I'm going to stop there for now, but I want to show you that one more time, to be honest. But man, they're not even showing on my screen here. Again, this would be so much better if I could just show you the screen in front of me. But thank you for sitting and listening. I hope you have a good evening. Good night. Oh, I am going to keep trying the FBI. I'll just start a new video for my other tries, and I'll just keep calling them and trying other people. I will succeed. But for right now, that's what the goal of the Masons are. Really need every single one of them discontinued or made sterile that are free and accepted Masons. Because it's the base three that know it's true. They call them spurious degrees to spur on trouble and crime. But they have that demole, just to remind everybody, don't get caught. Don't use your own muscles, trick somebody else into doing it. Think and imagine and fantasize. And that giddy fantasy, try and sanitize it and give it to somebody in a way that they won't understand so they can destroy everybody in the fucking nation. I mean, they're not just a cult. They're a virus going viral. Free and accepted Masons are a virus. Anyway, so I'm going to keep working on this.